Hi, welcome to a lecture on natural resources and environment in Malaysia. This is an introduction to the natural resources and environment in Malaysia. This is a co-program between Sophia University and University Kebangsaan Malaysia. My name is Tan Unja. I'm a researcher from Institute for Environment and Development, or known as Lestari, or translated as sustainable. So my presentations will describe natural resources in the country, followed by the key issues in managing the natural resources, before proceed to the environment and the country, and later discuss on the key issues regarding environment in the way and end it with the way forward. In a book called Military Use of Geologies and Geology, a historical overview and introduction by Rose et al. 2018, described that geologies have been introduced in the military operations in 1978 by Napoleon Bonaparte, later on the German and Austro-Hungarian armies, and later and less intensively those of UK and US. The geologies were not deployed on the battlefield, used primarily to guide abstractions of groundwater, constructions of mining tunnels and dugout, development of fortifications and quarrying of natural resources to enhance or repair supply route. Therefore, to understand the country natural resources, it is important to understand the geology of the country. Malaysia, as you can see here in this map of Peninsula Malaysia, consists of diverse rocks from Paleozoic to Quaternary, with Paleozoic rock dominate the area on the west and Mesozoic to the west, while Sabah and Sarawak, the rock are made of Mesozoic sedimentary to Quaternary. Thus, this 329,000 kilometers square land have numerous natural resources created by interactions of this rock. Before dig deeper onto the list of natural resources in the country, there's some important thing we need to aware of. The first note that under the constitutions of Malaysia, natural resources are within the jurisdictions of the state. Malaysia are made of 13 states with 3 federal territories. Therefore, natural resources management fall under the 9 monarchies and 4 chief ministers or Menteri Besar as the head of each state. Third, the states of Sabah and Sarawak include indigenous people law or native or customary law on the natural resource management and environment. In Malaysia, the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resource or federal agency are tasked to regulate the exploration and extractions of mineral resources. According to the National Ministry Industry Transformation Plan 2021 to 2030, there are estimated a 4.11 trillion mineral reserve consists of metallic minerals as here, as you can see, tin, aluminium, bauxite, or copper, gold, iron ore, nickel, manganese, non-radioactive, and rare earth elements. Non-metallic mineral as in this list and energy mainly non-metallic mineral as you can see here consists of marine sand, river sand, silica sand, quartz, choline, bow clay, marine clay or 5 clay, limestone, dolomite, feldspar mica, and dimension stone, while the energy only consists of coal. And at present, these resources are yet to be explored due to the limitations in the technology, dominance of resource in demand, and volatilities of the nature of the natural resources as well. Malaysia was well known to be a world premium producer of this mineral resource, particularly tin, but has declined due to falling price, depletion of tin deposit, as well as competitions from South America. Productions of tin in Malaysia in 2020 are up to 3.2 thousand metric ton, increasing approximately 4% compared to the last 10 years. The industry that once thrived throughout the country now reside on the selected site of several states only. Nonetheless, the remnant left a series of mining ponds and lakes across the plain in Malaysia. Meanwhile, the renewable resource can be translated from these energy resources, they include forests, agriculture, forests, water, sun, and biomass. In terms of consumptions, since 1960 to 2020, most of the country energy are fueled by fossil fuel, while other last some by coal, and very little space given to the renewable energy. And obviously, the consumptions are getting larger and bigger throughout the years. The same pattern shown in this pie chart by Thick Hui et al. Identified that iron and steel is the largest, followed by non-metallic mineral products, mainly non-renewable resources, and food and chemical that made of renewable resources, while at the very least is the machinery. Next, let's see what the key issues and natural resources in the country are. Without emphasis on the priority, here are the most common or obvious issues. First is the impact of the old approach, or consider the cheapest are most common or obvious. The cheapest with high returns seem to the cost of lots of environmental and ecological problems. The newspaper clip on the top is the evidence for these issues. It's also related to the second issues listed here as the governing issues by the state and federal, either there are some redundant or conflicted to each other. On other resources, particularly renewable resources, several agencies are in charge of the same area, while the enforcement left to them. For example, include water resources by the irrigation department, while the forested area that work as a water catchment belong to the forestry department, and the water used for consumptions are by privatized company. The third issues are reflected by the block clips on the bottom. The state decisions to build hydropower or dam take little considerations to the people participations for well-informed decisions, except for agreements and compensations. Now let's move to the environment that have direct connections with the natural resources, particularly geology and the soil in the country. The most common environment represented by the mountainous area, followed the highland forests of deep tropical before a large flat area mix of undulating hill and plain area. Near to the sea, we have stretch of mangrove and coastal environment. With regard to conservations and the green area, most of the forested area have been decreased gradually, with 55.3% still under forest cover, include conservation area under the national park, forest reserve, Ramsar site, and Wahati site as in 2022. Development, urbanizations, and agriculture for palm oil have taken most of the forested area in the past 2 decades. Malaysia environment was regulated by different entities. At Peninsula Malaysia, along with the Federated States, are regulated by the ministry using Environmental Act, while the state of Sabah and Sarawak are under their own Environmental Act, along with the native and customary law that imposed by the native court. These regulations have been exist long before the federations and documentation, so it's already been there since 18th century. In these states, they hold various terms that often nature-friendly or for sustainability of natural resources. Compendium of Environment in Malaysia as of 2021 identified the increase in natural environment as of rainfall and humidity, slight decrease in temperature, forested area, and number of marine fish. There definitely increase in scheduled wells, waste, supply of raw water, production of water, and clinical waste. In the area of recycling, there's a positive rise in number, but the significant area yet to be seen as the number of waste up almost 40%. Although the population so grows, it's far below the targeted number of 70 million by 2020. Natural resources such as water also have an impact in the natural disaster, as number of flood cases in the country show an increase, particularly urban flood compared to the seasonal monsoon flood. The case at Selangor mainly of urban flood and the recent natural disaster within the suburban area. The environment is not just for climatic nature of the area, but also reflected on diseases that are common in tropical regions, such as dengue fever, or more deadly hemorrhagic dengue fever, and malaria. Acknowledging the conservation's efforts are very important to human well-being. Most of the protection, management, and engagement in the past year shows a great initiative by the manufacturing companies. The contributions to a significant number of populations in the country, far below such services, mining and constructions at 6% and above, while the agriculture, forestry, and fishing contribute at 1.8%. There's also significant amount of import in environmental and natural resources and dairy uses. While only iron ore and almost balance amount, but on the other, export is definitely far less than the import. This is aligned with the natural resource features of non-equal distributions of natural resources across the globe, and also dominance of uses of natural resources in other country might be used in other country. As the environmental pollutions, most of it's from the motor vehicles at 70.4%, followed by power plants and industrial as much as 2.9% and others at 2.1%. Scheduled wells in Malaysia show quite a significant amount at 2.2 million tons, post challenge to the old-fashioned landfill approach. These statistics brought us to the key issues in the environments of the country, and the list here is without emphasis on the priority problems in nature are: first is the significance of deforestation and soil erosions due to the development in agriculture. Both math on the previous slide confirmed the gradual decrease of forested area in emerging urbanizations and agriculture area. This depleted the environment's ability to provide environmental services such as fresh air, ample water, and good soil at its optimum. Consequently, increase the impact on climate change. Secondly, the method used in explorations of non-renewable or renewable resources for economic purposes also often pose threat to the environment in the form of pollutions. A reasonable trade-off between environment and economic benefit are crucial. Third, despite a series of initiatives to move toward greener waste management, the work still at the infancy and slow moving from bringing your own bag, recycle your waste to well-sorted waste collections. Fourth, is the initiative to explore more renewable energy to minimize the use of non-renewable resources. Although several main infrastructure have been built with gigatons of energy, the lack of transferring facilities to the community, it's left untapped. And at the other end, the electric car, solar energy panel are at the very high price and unreasonable. This sharing will bring in the way forward to the country in the form of first, encourage explorations and extractions of resources with a new and greener technology that less impact to the environment while garner reasonable profit. Secondly, share data for well-informed governance and better collaborations among the state and federal agency, as well as among the agency itself. And third, it is a big leap to move from common top-down approach in the environmental management to a bottom-up approach for better protections and management of resources that begin at the grassroots for better adaptation to environment as well. With that, I end this sharing with this picture from the integrated conservations that explore and encourage co-management of an area to create a sustainable regional developed areas such as Langkawi UNESCO Global Geopark. Well, students, you're welcome to email me with your questions via email below. Thank you.